Hello, and thank you for being interested in clinical trials for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. I'm Dr. Teja Kulkarni, Director of the Interstitial Lung Disease Program at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. We are here today to discuss the process of clinical trials and how they work, to answer some of the questions that you may have about why they are the way they are, and to specifically look at a trial for idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. Getting new medications can take a long time. We may wish that it didn't, but each medication must be tried under controlled conditions and proven to show that it is safe and effective before it can be prescribed to patients. Medicines are initially developed by very skilled people in research institutions, typically using animal models and different types of cells. The next steps after that are to show that it can be translated to safe and effective use in people with the afflicted condition. Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis in our discussions today. This phase of translation of medication is called clinical trials, which starts with initial testing in healthy volunteers, followed by multiple phases of testing on patients with the disease in question, prior to the approval of medication for use in clinical practice. Clinical trials are very closely regulated. Even every word and image you see here are vetted by a review board to ensure that it is accurate and non-biased. The trial itself is scrutinized as well. Every step is documented and reviewed to ensure patient safety and agreement. All clinical trials should be explained to your satisfaction prior to participation. However, the success of the development of a new medication depends on a two-way process which involves rigorous design of the clinical trial by the study team, including a physician, and then patient participation in the trial. It is you that ultimately matters in this equation. There are 3 or 4 phases in clinical trials. Phase 1, the initial phase, looks at a small group of healthy volunteers, and this is mainly to find the right dose and to look for any side effects that would be concerning. Phase 2A then looks at a small group of patients with the condition in question. From then there is Phase 2B, which looks to confirm that the treatment works on a larger group of patients while looking at safety. And then Phase 3 is the final phase to confirm the treatment effect and prove that it works for everyone and that it is safe for patients. Why do trials take so long? All medications go through each of these phases that I mentioned in the previous slide. And in the US, the FDA reviews each phase of the study. The bigger the study, the longer it takes, and then you add the review process to it. The timeline for the study depends on how quickly you can enroll all of the participants. IPF is a rare disease, and so there are not as many patients that can join in the trial compared to a lung cancer study, for example. So it can take about 1 to 2 years to enroll the required number of patients for each of the study phases. The ASPIRE study is a Phase 2B clinical trial to test how well the treatment may work for people with IPF. The study will be completed once there are 270 people enrolled. The point or focus of the study is to get a more detailed look at the efficacy, meaning information on how well the treatment works, does it have side effects, as well as finding the best dose. ASPIRE has 3 buckets: the 100 mg dose, 50 mg dose, or placebo given twice per day. This study is essential for understanding the treatment's potential before testing it on an even larger scale in the final Phase 3 study. The ASPIRE Phase 2B study that I just mentioned is being conducted based on the results of this Phase 2A study, the AIR trial. You can see by the green line zigzagging up that the lung function of the 48 people who completed the study improved on an average over 36 weeks. So now the idea is to test the same treatment on a larger group of people, so 270 rather than 48. The ASPIRE Phase 2B trial is 52 weeks, so slightly longer, but there will only be 8 visits to the clinic during the trial, in an attempt to reduce going back and forth as much as possible. As mentioned before, there will be 2 different doses being tested, one at the 100 milligram, like the phase 2A, and one at 50 milligrams, each given twice per day to see which dose is the best in terms of safety as well as efficacy. If you would like to learn more about the ASPIRE study or IPF clinical trials in general, please scan the QR code or go to one of these links. As you can see by the map, there are many clinics that are participating in the US in the study, and they would be happy to answer any questions for you as well. Thank you for your time and attention.